It's Celtics Knicks in the second round of the playoffs. Our initial reactions. Do the Knicks have a chance? It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Beantown, be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Back to back, if I say it, it's stamped. Locked on number 19, the best one, the next one. Juice loose in your pool now for the next run. It's the C's, who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis, recap the madness. Every game, every practice. Best daily pod, no cap like Brad Beckett. Clutch like Drew to KP, tap in daily. Prime time, dapping D White on the sideline. Raining Jayson, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. I got you covered Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts whenever they play on the weekends, whenever. So make sure you're subscribed, watch the show on YouTube, get into the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm John Karalis. I'm a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. Been covering the Celtics for about 20 years. Today's show brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Boston Celtics are going to face the New York Knicks. Knicks just barely squeak by the Pistons in 6. And let's get our guy, Tom Westerholm, here. Tom, what a rough finish that was for Detroit. Just what a sad kind of like whimper of oh man, they didn't even, So if you guys didn't watch the game, the Knicks were up, like 8-10 or something like that?
12 in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They lost it. The Pistons then went up by 6
or 7, yeah.
7, 112-105.
Yeah.
With two and a half minutes to go.
Yeah.
And then they gave it all up.
No.
Tie game.
No.
Jalen Brunson gets the game-winning 3, and on the next play, they inbound it. It works its way around. It goes over to Beasley on the right side. He has a wide open look, but he must have taken his eye off the ball or something, because that ball went right through his hands and out of bounds before they could even get a shot off.
You know, that actually makes it sound better than it was, because what you said is it went through his hands and actually went off his hands. It just clunked off his hands. Like if it goes through your hands, I feel like that's, I don't know. Like it looked like jammed fingers on the.
Yeah.
There's somebody tweeted out like a clip of it happening over and over and over again, and it is just tragic. Rough.
It's not great.
Rough
it's
moment.
Not great. It's not great. Credit to the Pistons for making the run, for not dying, for in the fourth quarter where they had, it looked like the Knicks were running away, to keep fighting. The Pistons never quit. The Knicks did not execute well. We'll put it that way. We'll say it was not going great for them execution-wise. Karl-Anthony Towns fouled out of this game. So it was, I look at now the Knicks' performance against the Pistons versus the Celtics' performance against Orlando. And you say, okay, Pistons are a tough team. They work hard. They can play pretty good defense, just a tough offensive team, right? They just can't pile up enough points to get the job done. Very similar to Celtics facing Orlando, tough defensive team, doesn't have enough offense, and so on and so forth. So now you move forward.
Cade on the Magic would have made that a 6 or 7 game series, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Lord.
Wow.
The upgrade there would be insane.
I mean, if you had Cade Banchero and Franz Wagner, that's
you're working with something then. Yeah,
that's a pretty strong team.
That's something.
Man, that's a tough team.
Yeah.
But So now you say, okay, well, it's hard to say what's going to carry forward from another series because, it's different teams, different matchups, different personnel. So I look at the Knicks and go, they should not have struggled the way they struggled with the Pistons. They should not have. It should have been a little bit. You should have put them away a little bit. You can argue that the Celtics might have been able to. You can say the same about the Celtics, but I think the Knicks are walking into the second round series against a version of the Pistons that is better than what they just faced defensively and with an elite offense. So you just struggle with the Pistons, and the defense you're about to face is better than the Pistons. And also they score just in bunches.
Yeah.
Versus where the Celtics go into a series where like, oh, phew, this defense is nowhere near what we faced. Yeah. But it's a little tougher to stop. But oh my God, thank you. We can probably like let our hair down and go out there and score. So I don't know. That's a very long-winded way for me to start the show and just kind of kick things off with this next series is going to be very different for Boston. I don't know how different it's going to be for the Knicks other than their mistakes. They're going to pay for their mistakes in a big way.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think, like the Celtics are going to be able to, we talked about this last time, and I'm sure we will continue to talk about it. The Celtics will punish the Knicks in ways that the Pistons simply couldn't, right? Like at least not on a consistent level. The Celtics are going to be able to do things. I think the thing that, that stood out from Game 6, right, was that the Pistons did have Asar Thompson, who played Brunson really tough when he was allowed to be on the floor. He was inexplicably off the floor for a good 3 or 4 minutes in crunch time, which made very little sense to me. But he did do a good job defensively against Jalen Brunson until, literally the final play for the Knicks, which was another tough one just to see Asar kind of skidding across the floor while Brunson hits an open three. But yeah, no, I think the Celtics, come away from that Magic series. Like, I think the big difference between the way those teams performed is that New York kind of eked it out. Like they did like kind of just enough. The Celtics did execute against the Magic, right? It's just that the execution, we talked about this again, looked so different than execution looked the rest of the year. So the Celtics aren't really coming into this series like, man, we really got away with one against the Magic. They're coming into this series as like, no, like we did all the right things against the Magic. The Magic made it tougher. Like that's kind of what the Magic do. They make, they ugly the game, they muddy it up, and they did a good job of it against the Celtics. But the Celtics executed. They still looked sharp for lengthy stretches. They turned the ball over some. Then that's going to happen against a defense that aggressive. But the Knicks, I feel like the Knicks kind of come in like, like I'm not going to say they tripped, fell, and landed in the second round, but like I'm actually not saying that. They didn't
gracefully enter the second round.
They didn't gracefully enter. No, they didn't ballet their way into the second round.
No.
Or, they're here. They made it. Yeah.
They are here.
All the coffee mugs are chipped along the way, but they're here. They made
it. This is the moving company that you paid like God. You guys
moving.
Yeah. When Acme Moving shows up with Wile E. Coyote as the like 4 Wile E. Coyotes, you're gonna like that's what this is. All right. To your point, for people who didn't hear yesterday's show. First of all, what? You didn't? Second of all, the stats.
Shame on you.
I when I come back, the stats that highlight what Tom's talking about with a little bit more because I wrote about it for Boston Sports Journal. So I withheld a little bit in the podcast yesterday so I could have something to put in, my Boston Sports Journal piece. I will now share that with you guys to just highlight Tom's point of the Celtics offense was still good versus Orlando, even though it didn't look good. Okay, we'll explain that in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at Monarch Money, who know that sometimes we look at our bank accounts and we go, wait a second, I had a 0 in there. There must be an error on my app. There were more numbers before, and now they aren't there. But I am a very big example of all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a second, I spent money on what? How much did I spend on that dinner? I didn't realize. So Monarch Money isn't just going to help me budget. It's going to help me take complete control of my finances. It is a financial command center that helps you track all your accounts, investments, your spending. It's all in one place. So you can stop managing your money and start building wealth. So you start using Monarch Money. You can look at all of the different things that you're spending on. And instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, plan long-term goals. If you're working with a partner, like, your wife, whomever, they help you manage, track, share personal goals, set goals, stay on the same page. So take control of your finances. Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. You get 50% off your first year with the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Make Locked On NBA Game Night your second listen. I'm going to hop on that after I'm done here. Talk about the Knicks game, talk about the Nuggets and Clippers, and just get you all caught up on the playoffs and how all that went. So go check out Locked On NBA Game Night wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Tom. So we mentioned stats yesterday, and just a little bit more context on the Celtics offense, because the Sean Grandy stat, when he put it out, was Celtics and OKC scored 1.174 points per possession in their first round wins. So when you look at offensive rating, the Celtics and the Oklahoma City Thunder both had an offensive rating of 117.4. So the Celtics offense, the impact that Orlando had on the Celtics offense was shrinking the number of possessions. The Celtics averaged 90.4 possessions. That was their pace. The pace number is possessions per 48 minutes. Celtics averaged 90.4 possessions. Oklahoma City averaged 102.6. So they got 12 more possessions to score at a rate of 117.4 per 100 possessions. So they put up a ton more points. They put up 120 points per game, whereas Boston scored 106.4. So people look at it and go, well, yeah, the Thunder offense was just worlds better. Like, no, actually,
really? Yeah.
Not really, because of the way the standardized, this is what advanced metrics do. This is why we use advanced stats.
Right.
The few possessions, now Orlando did a great job slowing it down. The Celtics had to use more clock. Orlando, use more, like they just, you didn't have enough time. If the Celtics had the exact same amount of possessions as the Thunder, they would have scored the same amount of points. That's basically what all of this says. And that's against the Magic defense, which was the second best defense in the league this past season.
Yeah.
So the whole point of all of that is the Knicks defense is not good necessarily.
Right.
And the Celtics were able to score against a good defense at a rate that's equal to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who put up 120 points a game. So,
and who, we should be abundantly clear, kicked the absolute teeth out of,
just murdered them. Just absolute. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point here. That's the point of what we're saying.
Yeah.
That offense that beat Memphis into submission that's what the Celtics offense would have looked like,
right?
In a sense, with that many possessions. If you gave them 102.5 possessions, 103 possessions versus 90.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen against the Knicks is they're going to start getting to high 90s because they're the Celtics and they tend to play slow anyway.
Yeah.
But it's going to go, their pace number is going to get up to like 97, 98. So seven, let's just say 8 more possessions. And at 1.174 points per possessions, well, let's just break out the calculator. 1.174 times 8 is another 9. And let's just round it down to 9 points a game. So the Celtics scored 106.4. Well, now they're scoring 115.
Also, you could probably round it up and even tack on a couple more, because one thing that the Magic do really well is prevent teams from shooting threes. And the Knicks are not going to prevent the Celtics from shooting threes.
The Knicks give up a
ton
of threes.
They give up a ton, and they especially give up a ton of threes against the Celtics. So, I think that it's expect a lot more points out of the Celtics in this round. And look, I mean, the Knicks have a more potent offense than the Magic, certainly by a mile, by 10 miles, by many miles. But the problem is, right, and this is something we talked about yesterday, is that the people who make that offense so good are the people who are directly at fault for the Celtics defense. And that's the formula here that I think just works so well in the Celtics' favor. It's the same formula that worked in their favor in the finals last year, where there are just multiple guys on the floor who have to be on the floor. You cannot not have those guys on the floor if you're the Knicks. And the Celtics are like, thank you very much. We half the game, right? Like the entire defense, whenever we're on offense, we love that you guys have those guys on the floor. That's such a problem for the Knicks. It was such a problem for the Mavericks. I think there's I'm not going to look ahead yet, but I think there have been a lot of teams, a huge number of teams in the NBA who have had that problem against the Celtics, where it's just, you have these scoring guys who are integral to the way that your team plays. Your Tyler Heroes, your Jalen Brunsons, your Karl-Anthony Towns, your Darius Garlands, who, when they're on the floor, you need the team needs them on the floor. Those guys can get buckets, but the Celtics just take so much advantage of them on the other end. And that's where the 3-point math problem starts to really come into play. And I think that's going to be a big part of what we see over the next week or so.
So the Knicks offensive rating over the course of the regular season, 117.3. In this series against Detroit, it dropped to, where do you go, New York Knicks? 109.8. So dropped by a fair amount.
Yeah.
And the Celtics defense is better than what the Pistons defense is. The Celtics defensive rating in that series. Now this is where the numbers start to get a little messy, because the Celtics defensive rating against the Orlando Magic is 103.8. And that's the Orlando Magic. And there's certainly a fair amount of make-miss in this number. In the Orlando Magic miss. They just miss a lot. And the Knicks will not miss, I don't think, quite the way Orlando does. But
the Celtics were cleaning the glass. The Celtics were the 5th best defense in the NBA over the course of the regular season. So if we don't just look at the playoff round, Celtics were 5th, Detroit was 11th. So again, Detroit, it was kind of a middle of the pack, a slightly better than average defense this year. And they made things hard for the Knicks. Yeah. And the Celtics are a better defense. They all around are just better at it.
Right. So you take what the defense the Knicks have faced in this first round that gave them problems, and now make that defense better, right? And now we'll see if Drew Holiday comes back, or when he comes back. But you have a big in Kristaps Porzingis that's unique and better than, defensively, or at least there to protect the rim. You've got Al Horford as
miles better than Duran, that's for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So you now have so better defenders, better big man defenders, better rim protection. You have, if Holiday is back, an all defensive wing. You have Derek White, an all defensive wing. You have Jaylen Brown, who has his all defensive moments, and Jayson Tatum, who is a very capable defender as well.
I think to expand on Jalen, I think he's got his all defensive matchups, right? There are guys where he just gets up for it, and it's like over the course of an entire game, he's an all defensive guy. Like Anyway, sorry.
No, for real. So this Celtics defense is like so much better than the Pistons defense. This all leads me to a question that I have on the YouTube page. Does New York have a chance? Let's just answer that question directly when we come back. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. I do want to send out my apologies to those of you who subscribe to the Locked On Celtics newsletter. That has been discontinued, unfortunately. It was a network initiative. It's out of my control. So anybody who has been looking for a newsletter that we've been heavily promoting here on the podcast, the network has decided to discontinue that. And so I regret to inform you that is the case. If you enjoyed that newsletter, I'm sorry, but out of my control. Just leave it at that. Got to control what you can control, and that's not one of them. All right, Tom, let's just answer this question. Do the New York Knicks have a chance against the Celtics in this series?
So, I mean, I think an NBA team has a chance to beat an NBA team in a playoff series, like for sure, right? Like, I mean, this is a good NBA team, the Knicks. They have good players. I think I think this is the only way. This is the only way I can see it happening, right? Is if the Knicks have a chance, it's a very long series, right? We're talking like a 7-game series that comes down to like a final game where, Jalen Brunson goes off in the final game. I think that if Brunson can get if he can get multiple Celtics players in foul trouble in 4 out of the 7 games, right? To the point where the Celtics are a little bit hamstrung, that's going to be hard to do, right? Like the Celtics have a lot of guys that they can keep just, throwing out there. But if you can get let's say, maybe Drew Holiday misses a game or two, maybe Brunson then gets Derek White into foul trouble or maybe gets a couple of guys into foul trouble, and then the Knicks steal a couple of games and can kind of get it to that stage where it sort of feels like one game, where you get to a game 6 and maybe the Knicks win game 6 in Madison Square Garden, and then it gets to a game 7. That's the road that I could see a Knicks team going down where they have a chance against the Celtics. It's hard. I'm going to go way out on a limb and tell you right now that that's not my prediction. But like, if you were going to foresee a road for the Knicks, I think it's something like that.
So your answer is no, they don't have a chance.
I'm not going to say no. I'm going to pick Celtics in less than 6, but like, I'm not going to say the Knicks I'm not going to say the Knicks have no chance.
There is obviously the obvious caveats are the following: injuries.
Yep.
Okay. So there's always the injury risk. Outlier shooting, just
on either side. Yep.
Caleb Martin type, because I would have said that the Miami Heat didn't have a chance. In fact, I did say the Miami Heat didn't have a chance 2 years ago. I pissed off everybody in Miami and
pissed off everybody again by bringing it up again.
Yeah. Well, no, they're going to celebrate because that's the year that they went to the championship. They beat the
Celtics. No, you're pissing off Celtics fans now.
Right. No, but what I'm saying, like I flat out said, like, no chance. And like, okay, you have to have, Brunson has to have the series of his life. Karl-Anthony Towns has to have the series of his life.
Yeah.
And the Celtics also have to be complicit in that everybody has to kind of suck. Yeah. And then things are going to be tilted. But under normal circumstances, if we're just saying the Boston Celtics are playing just their normal basketball and the Knicks are playing their normal basketball, or even if the Celtics are playing their best and the Knicks are playing their best, the Celtics best is so far ahead of what the Knicks best is, because the Celtics best is inherently going to tamp down what the Knicks best can be.
Yeah.
So there's no way, it's impossible for the Celtics to play their best and have the Knicks also play a perfect game, because they're not capable of that. If the Celtics are playing their best, they're limiting at least one of those guys. They're targeting the hell out of Karl-Anthony Towns, and he's going to have a big time struggle fest for that entire series. So I
think he's going to foul out a couple more times before the season is
over. He probably will. And look, Mitchell Robinson will, be a difference than, from the regular season, but that's okay, because he clogs the paint. I don't think the Knicks are capable of duplicating anything that Orlando did.
No.
Right?
No, for sure not. For sure not. Yeah. The whole concept behind Orlando was that they didn't have to double. Right? And I mean,
right.
The Knicks can choose not to double, I guess, if they want to do that, but
right. Which
those layups, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Then congratulations, Jayson Tatum, on averaging 50 for an entire series.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to look different about that is he's going to average 50 on like there, because he's going to make 25 twos. Yeah.
So, I just want to address this concept of, Orlando showed the blueprint how to beat the Celtics. This is a big thing, or how to slow down the Celtics. Orlando showed the blueprint. I just want to knock that notion down a 10 pegs. Do people think that other teams don't know how to play these defenses? Did the Magic invent a defense? Did they magically figure out, the Orlando figured out a way to play 7 guys. No one knew this loophole. The Magic figured it out. Now everybody's going to have this loophole. No. All they did was...
Mazzulla hates this one weird trick.
They stay home. The Orlando's blueprint is stay home, defend these guys one-on-one, and dare them to beat you. Okay, go for it. Like you just said, go for it. Orlando didn't show a blueprint. Everybody knows that, if there's a way to limit Boston's three-point shooting, you can try to do that. But New York doesn't do that. That's not what they're made to do. That's not what they're built to do. Are they going to institute an entirely new defense, entirely new defensive principles on May 2nd in time for a game 1 of a series on May 5th? Is that how people think it's going to go? No. There is no blueprint. There is no laying the blueprint because showing the blueprint would inherently mean there was a secret and Orlando uncovered a secret. Everybody's played on every defense. Everybody has tried every defense. There's nothing new. Orlando didn't do anything special. They just did what they do well, what fit their personnel well, and their personnel executed it well. Yep. That's all it was. There's no blueprint. There's none. And if you try to do that with the Knicks, and the Celtics are just going to beat you a different way. So I don't think, people on the outside like to talk about blueprints because it's just a talking point.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's a fake talking point. It's meaningless. It means nothing. And I guarantee you Joe Mazzulla is going to get asked about a blueprint 5 times between now and game 1. And he might actually use his martial arts against somebody that does, because people ask him about adjustments. And if there's no better way to get under Joe Mazzulla's skin than to ask about adjustments in a playoff series. If you do that, and ask about the blueprint in the same question, he might implode. Be like Scanners where the head just explodes.
Well, you could hear the question too, right? You can hear like the Joe. You know, a lot of people are kind of talking about it the way that the Magic showed the blueprint to beat you guys. You know, what adjustments do you have to make to counteract that? You know, like it's right there for somebody. Yes. Yeah.
It's gonna be just. I'm gonna get out of the way. I'm gonna slowly step back from the scrum and just, you know, it'd be like the John Morant celebration when it's like somebody throws the grenade. Yeah.
No,
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I completely agree with you. I think if you're a Celtics fan, the only thing to really be concerned about based on that Magic series is that there is one other team in the NBA who can kind of play a similar type of defense against the Celtics. And you might see them if things go well over the next few weeks. But you know, cross that bridge when you come to it. But yeah, I mean, the Knicks are not that team. Like the Knicks can't do any of that stuff. And you know, like this is the thing, right? It's like the playoffs come down to matchups. Like it's just like and that's why the Magic were a tough first round opponent for the Celtics, is because of matchups and because, like, you know, individual guys could do something against the Celtics. You know, they couldn't do enough on the offensive end. They didn't have enough matchups to do anything about the Celtics on the offensive end, but like they could do some stuff on the defensive end, and that made it a little bit harder for the Celtics. The Knicks, it's just matchups. It's so tough for them up and down their roster, like to match up with the Celtics. They can't do it. You know, you went out and dropped nine draft picks on Mikal Bridges, and he can't guard the guys that he's supposed to be guarding on the Celtics. Like that's tough. And he's not the problem. Like there's other guys who are the bigger problem. That's tough. It's just a horrible matchup for the Knicks. And maybe they dig deep and into their giant well of energy that I'm sure that every Tom Thibodeau team has by the second round of the playoffs, and maybe they overcome that. But the signature well of energy that Tom Thibodeau teams have by, you know, early May. But I don't see it myself. So
I also do not see it. But I guess my final thought will be like, I hope the Celtics don't have this level of
our attitude.
But as I always say, people, Knicks fans are going to be in these comments and going to be like, oh, you guys are so overconfident, and be like, buddy, I'm not the one that's out there on the floor. I get to be overconfident. I get to sit here and scream and crow about how the Celtics should not worry about this at all. The Knicks don't have a chance and all that stuff. And it'll probably be Celtics in 5. And I'm being generous by saying Celtics in 5. But right.
I mean, they beat them 4-0 in the regular season.
Right.
Like, what do you want? Like,
right. And 3 of those games
were double digits.
Yeah. So,
and one of them the Knicks cared about and the Celtics didn't, and the Celtics still won.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?
Right. So, like, I get to be smug. I get to be, you know, a jerk. I get to be whatever things that opposing fan base like to call me in April, in May, in June, because a lot of other team fan bases really hate me around this time of year. Because the Celtics are really damn good and your team is not. So, or not as good. Right. And that's it. I mean, but the Celtics need to approach it as if this is the biggest challenge in front of them, and they can't come in overconfident because they won 4-0. Because if you are overconfident and you don't play your absolute best, then the Knicks will do something, and they will, you know, go on a run or come out strong or win the first quarter 36-16, whatever it is. Maybe steal game 1 in Boston. Like that. That's all possible stuff if the Celtics don't take them seriously. The caveat on all of this is Boston takes the Knicks seriously, plays how they're supposed to play. There are no catastrophic injuries, and we all move forward with a normal series. And in a normal series, it's Celtics easily over the Knicks. But there will be plenty of more time to discuss this, preview this. In fact, the game's on Monday, so maybe Sunday I'll do a Locked On preview crossover. So, we'll just sit on this. This is going to be the podcast of record for the weekend. So, oh God, I'm glad I didn't put that pressure on us at the beginning of it. I would have crumbled under it, like the Detroit Pistons.
Hey,
ooh,
just would have Malik Beasley that thing right out of bounds.
Tom, appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
I do appreciate all of you Celtics fans for being with me. Everydayers, you folks who are taking me along with you on your Monday through Friday daily routines. I do appreciate you doing that. It's I really do thank you so much, because we are here to just make your Celtics enjoyment just a little bit better, give you a little something extra to just, so because you love this team so much. So thank you for subscribing. If you're not a subscriber, please become one. Get into that YouTube comment section. Let me know what you think, and then share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.